Hello and welcome to the channel Liferay Revisited. In the previous videos, what we have seen was like how we can create a web module. Uh, Previously, we have seen how we can create a service builder, and what we have seen was like how we can write a process action, what is going to be the controller, and how we can create a render method. In the previous video, also we have seen is like we have implemented a complete flow from where a user would be landed on the page. He would be seeing a default render. Then there would be a render URL using which if a user is going to click, a new JSP is going to open up. And in that JSP, what we have done is we have created a form. That form, if submitted, will go to a controller, which is going to be our action command. So in that action command, what we have seen was we have read all of these parameters which are listed out over here, and then we had printed them out. In this video, what we are going to look into is like how we can integrate the database layer into the portlet. So we have created earlier two projects using the service builder, employee service and employee API. In this tutorial, what we are going to see is how we can utilize the service layer which has been generated by these two projects in the employee web project. So the step number one that we need to do is we need to define a dependency of this particular project into our project. So for that, what we are going to do is we are going to write one line which is going to be like this: compile only project modules employee and employee API. So why this? Why it is in this way? So what we have done is we have asked Gradle to pull in a dependency which is a project. Okay, now from the project, this project is resided in the folder which is known as modules, and inside modules there is a folder known as employee, which is over here, and inside the employee there is a project which is known as employee API. So if I go back into my code, and you'll see like we are having a modules folder. Inside modules we have employee folder, and inside employee we have employee API folder. That's what we want to provide as a dependency. That's why we have written it like this. Now that's step number one. So over here we have specified like bring me this dependency. Now in order to do the service layer integration, what we need is a object reference so that we can interact with the service. So what we need is from this, there is a service which is known as employee service. We need this particular object inside our class. So what OSGI refers is, and it recommends is like you load a object via this at the rate of reference annotation. So what I'll do, I'll just press Ctrl Shift O so that all of my imports are there. Now what we are doing over here is we are creating an object of employee service, and we are using at the rate of reference annotation to tell OSGI that as soon as this particular portlet is going to be deployed, what it needs to do is it needs to fill up employee service. So now what we are going to do is we are going to utilize this employee service and enter the data. So employee service dot add employee. So if you see like we have name, we have address, phone number is missing because the variable name is different, and there you go. So now what we have is we have email address, we have salary, we have phone number, we have address, and we have name. All right. So I'll just press save, which means that our portlet is going to get deployed again. We'll see that it's publishing and it has stopped and then it started. So I'll just go back on the page and refresh the page. Now I'll just click on create employee. Over here I'll put the name as sample LR revisited. Now the address would be sample address, street 2. Phone number would be 09896. All right. Salary would be 100. Email address sample@of mailinator.com. Date of joining could be anything. Date of leaving could be anything. Now I'll just click on save. As soon as I have clicked on the save, what happened was it came to our do process section and it has started to print out this system.out.println, which is like lr revisited sample address street 2, and then it has called a add employee. So that's where our data has been inserted. And if we go over here in the system.out.println, it has called our save action method. And we know after processing any action, it goes to the render method. And our render method is over here in the employee controller, where we are calling employee controller.toView, and it has returned the default JSP. So that's how a database interaction works. Just to verify, let's go back in our database and see. We'll see an entry over here. Employee ID, name is going to be this, address is going to be this, email address is this, date of joining and date of leaving we haven't yet inserted. So that's why they haven't inserted back into the database. So over here, if you see in our save action command, we have just name, address, phone number, salary, and email address. That's what has been implemented. Now, let's try to do it in a different way. If I go to employee service MPL, then what we have done is we have uh, returned an employee local service. And if I go into add employee, over there we will see a lot of things which we have returned. Is like we have created a object of employee, then we have fetched an employee ID, which is kind of we have pulled from the control local service, of which I have explained you in the previous tutorial that this is something which Liferay provides you if you want to create any counter for any of your entity. Then we have set this employee ID and then we have added the employee. So that's how a normal create operation works in Liferay using the service builder. So just to recap everything, first step is to create a project which is going to export your services. So we would be having a service.xml where we will define the complete architecture of our table. And then we will run the services. We will expose the methods that we want other projects to use. And once that has been done, we'll come to our portlet. And over there in the portlet in build.gradle, we will provide the compliant only and name of the project. Then the class where we want to use that particular service will provide that class as an object using the @of reference annotation so that OSGI can pull that up. Further, we will utilize the method where we want to uh, do the database interaction. So that's about it, how we do a basic create operation. In the next video, we are going to implement a search container, and then we will list out all of the details that we have built and then provide an edit screen for the users. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Bye bye.